Milestone or experience points? I kind of hate both. So let's get into it. I don't like how experience points is solely attached to monsters. One, that tells me in the game design that the point of the game is to fight monsters and really nothing else. Everything else that people say Dungeons and Dragons can be is them essentially homebrewing their game. By the design of the game, every 3 or so sessions is when you should be leveling up. If you're not fighting monsters, find another way that experience kind of evolves. Is the role play affecting the players that they can evolve into another level? In fact, you don't have to look that far. Dungeon Craft has a great 10 XP system, which really reduces the resolution of the numbers, which is kind of helpful. There are also ways to move XP from monsters, and not to gold, even though you can, to stories and challenges. And that's kind of really cool. But for me, I'm usually playing Milestone. As a DM, I prefer it. As a player, I kind of hate it. Like, I don't like that the progress of my character is at the whim of the DM when they think the arc or the story says so. In the Wildmount book, produced by Critical Role and Dungeons and Dragons, there's a section in the book called Prophecy Goals. I really have fallen in love with this idea. In the conversation about milestones, where you're focusing on the story, not really XP, which is super vague and subjective, we're going to objectify milestone a bit more. A prophecy goal is created by the player, not the DM. You have a short-term, long-term, and an end-game prophecy for your character. Your short-term goal should be handed off to the DM before session 1. This is part of the character creation phase of like, what's the next thing since their backstory, what they're looking for, right? Oh, I was bit by a werewolf in my backstory. So the short-term goal is to find a cure. And depending on the number of players you have, within the first like dozen sessions, all your players should be hitting short-term goals. Maybe you do them at the same time, maybe they're stacked one at a time, whatever it is. But in the first like dozen sessions, your short-term goal will be achieved. Let's say you have 4 players, and out of the 12 sessions, that's 3 sessions per goal. And that's kind of a regular rhythm to level up. Long-term goals. Players don't need to know what their long-term goal is for their character right away. You have about 12 sessions to figure it out, you know? Maybe you have until the first big boss to figure it out. You just gotta spend time playing the game, getting to know your character, getting to know how they fit in the party, and how you like to play them. Then there's the end game goal. You definitely shouldn't know this right off the bat. Let time progress. At the end of your character's arc, what is their goal? Do they die in the heat of battle? Do they lose everything and everyone? Do they get everything they wanted? These prophecy goals give the DM flagpoles, markers on what is the story that the player wants their character to experience as the game is moving forward. And then the DM can weave that into the overall adventure. And obviously this is for long form campaigns, not one shots. And it helps the DM prepare the 2 years more that you and your friends are getting together to play a game, that it's the game that everyone wants to play, and it's being updated in real time by feedback from the players. Like, this is my long-term goal based off the events that happened from with my short-term goal, what's happening to my friends. I think this is going to be my long-term goal, or I think this should be my end game goal. What I love about prophecy goals, it allows the player to be the co-creator of the adventure with the DM. That way the DM can focus on running the best adventure, not running and making the best adventure. The best adventure is what the table decides. And it feels a little bit gamified, right? That's the thing that I love about XP, is that it's gamified. So prophecy goals make Milestone feel more gamey in the right way. There's a catch. Prophecy goals have to have 2 parts. I absolutely agree with this, and I think it sticks. It's absolutely brilliant. And the first part is what you assume I'm talking about when it comes to goals. What do I want my character to achieve at this goal? But the second part is you have to mention what it costs your character. That's the conflict that you get to present to the DM that you're giving consent to. I saved my friends and my family and my hometown at the cost of my life. You just told the DM that you're okay with dying on the battlefield. Whether you've had that conversation with the rest of your players or not, it might come up. The DM might now design the coming plot and really hint that you are going to die, or the cost to do this is your life. He has consent to push it all the way to that point. That's co-creation. That's collaborative storytelling. The more I play Dungeons and Dragons, the more I realize that, like, yes, the DM is kind of like the ringleader at the circus, the host of the party. But there are pockets where other players are the co-host for their character's story, and the rest of the table get to experience it as a live audience. And then you pass off the buck to the next person, and they get to now experience it too. Sometimes you weave it into the same time, and they're like, oh my god, we're in this together. That's the magic of Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop gaming. That's awesome.